Look like I'm hiding behind shades.
Secret Service agent. What's up, guys? Hey, it's Aaron. I'm here with Curtis Hamilton today.
Hey guys.
He put a post out on Nextdoor and said, if anybody wants to talk to me, please reach out. And so I reached out, and Curtis, I appreciate you calling me so that we can put this together.
Well, yeah, thanks for reaching out, and thanks for your interest in the Shiawasee and in my candidacy. So I'm happy to talk about it.
That's awesome. Yeah, and it's this Shiawasee is just a part of it, but I wanted to get to know you as a person, you know, because that's what it's all. Watch this, guys.
Sure.
Look, Republican and a Democrat. We're not even gonna quiver. But that's what it's really about. It's about people and their beliefs and those types of things, and that's why I wanted to come and talk to you.
Sure.
And we've already talked a little bit this morning. You moved out here 9 years ago.
Yep, 9.5 years. Yep.
And where did you move from?
Novi. My kids went to Novi schools.
Okay.
And they were still living with me a bit out here. And this place had a beautiful setting, but it had a pool. You know, so the kids loved that.
Yeah.
And didn't have as much land as I would like, but
Right.
but it was a beautiful setting. So here we are.
And we talked about that because as you come from the east moving west, the values, you know, the farther west you get, the lesser the values and the more land you can get. So it just makes perfect sense.
Yep.
So how old are your kids now?
They're mid to upper 20s now.
Okay.
Yep, two out of 3 married.
Oh, terrific.
Yep.
And do they still live in Michigan?
Yeah. So I have, my son's engineer out in Holland, Michigan.
Amazing. Which is what you do.
Yeah, I was an engineer. Yeah,
Okay.
graduated. Yeah. And automotive for over 30 years, 35 years.
That's
and just recently retired a couple years ago.
Okay.
And just have time in my hands, so I thought I'd throw my hat in the ring once I learned about this river in the back of my house. And my house is just over here behind the, there's wetlands that feed into the Shiawasee here.
Yep.
And so once I saw that there was a pollution site,
Yep.
that's when I said, well, you know, let's get involved. First it was figuring out what's all about, and that's
Okay.
when I discovered this EPA report, you know.
Which is amazing because you're built based on your education and your background to dig into this stuff, understand it, and be able to tell common people like us what's coming out of this. So what did you find?
Well, I'm not an environmental guy,
Yep.
but I can read reports and the details, and so you can see I take a lot of notes as I go through it.
Yep.
And all the charts and such. There's a lot of new nomenclature. You know, every industry has its own language, right?
Yes.
So these environmentalists have their own language, but suffice it to say that you can boil it down to the Shiawasee River Superfund site. It's been there, you know, since 1980, basically.
The Superfund.
It's called a Superfund, EPA Superfund site.
So that means in 1980, they established that there was contamination in the river and therefore there would be funding to try to clean it up. Is that accurate?
Yeah, at the time there was, they were checking the fish in inland lakes and rivers for PCBs at that time.
We had it in Thompson Lake at one time.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and they, when they found the PCBs, they tracked it upstream to the Highland Road facility.
Okay.
Right next to the Shiawasee.
Okay.
So there was some remedial action at the beginning.
Yep.
They did some cleanup.
Yeah.
It was supposed to have been 8 miles of cleanup of the river.
Okay.
They stopped after about 1.5 miles. They ran out of funds.
Okay.
And that's kind of where it sat.
All right.
Really for, there's different levels. I still need to get into some of the details.
Yep.
This is, they do a 5-year report.
All right.
This EPA, so this is the 4th 5-year report, just came out in July.
So we're 20 years in.
So 20 years in.
Yep.
Yep. So at the beginning, they anticipated the whole project should be done in 2023.
Okay.
They projected 18 years.
Yep.
Just looking back to the previous report, the previous 5-year report that came out in 2019.
Yep.
Each one says, well, we're not doing not doing the monitoring like we should be doing.
Okay.
Even this latest report says we're not doing the monitoring like we should be doing.
It's really surprising to me because with what's established in the government funds at this point for Michigan, it would appear to me that these things would be a priority. The funding would be there.
Right.
You know, versus different administrations.
So last summer, I got a knock on the door from Eagle, which is the Michigan Environmental Commission.
Yes.
Energy, Great Lakes, and Environment, or the other way around. And they knocked on my door and says, we'd like to check your well for PFAS.
Okay.
Right? And they said because the airport had that plane crash a couple years ago, they spread that foam on there.
Yes.
And they said, we just want to check everybody's wells.
Yep.
Well, when I got the notice for the meeting, then they had a public meeting about a month or 2 months after.
It's scary.
They checked, and the name of the meeting was the 2440 West Highland Road Superfund site.
Okay.
I'm like, I thought the airport was on Thule.
Right.
And turns out that the meeting really was about this building.
Yep.
2440.
Yeah.
And the airport was a part of the meeting, but only a small part.
Yeah.
So the PCBs that were in the river, they're also checking for PFAS now.
Right.
So there's also PFAS.
Yep.
They did check our road. They checked 12 of the neighbors. 5 of the wells tested positive for PFAS.
All right.
Not to the level they said that the state would pay for filters.
Okay.
But still, there was PFAS.
So
Mine luckily was clean.
Below level at least. Similar probably to radon, right? You can have radon in a house and it be to a safe level or below what they consider to be harmful to you to live in.
Yeah.
And therefore, depending on where you're at, you do a remediation. With radon, it's an air exchange system. With these PCBs or the PFAB, it would be a what's it called?
Reverse osmosis.
Reverse osmosis that takes everything out of the drinking water, right?
Yeah.
So it's not the end of the world. It's just that you need to manage it. So when you become 80, you're not sitting there shaking, dying.
Well, you know, in
disease.
the engineering world, you can't fix a problem unless you know what the problem is.
That makes sense.
So you got to monitor. You got to make a plan and work the plan.
Yep.
Well, this report had a plan that they should be working.
Right.
Because they're not monitoring, they can't work the plan.
Yes.
So for 20 years, they've ignored the monitoring.
Yep.
So I understand that part of the plan is what they call natural response.
Yep.
Just let it lie. What is it called? It's called monitored natural response.
Just like a septic, right? You take your effluents coming out of your house and it goes into the ground, and the ground acts as that filter to clean the effluent that's coming through the ground.
So so I'm perfectly fine with that.
Yep.
You know, but let's listen to the scientists.
Right.
What is the best way? We can't change the past. I understand that.
Yeah.
This thing's been here for 50 years.
Yep.
You know, this guy wasn't responsible for what happened 50 years ago.
Yes.
And even before it was a Superfund site, you know, you read and it's stuff that's happened in the 60s and the 70s.
Absolutely.
When we weren't paying attention, just like, you know, it was like, build, baby, build.
Right.
Pour everything into the river, who cares, you know?
Absolutely.
Well, you know, people are fishing in the river.
Yeah, and then you have farmers with orchards, and of course you have to spray pesticides to keep the bugs and animals away, and all those pesticides come through the ground, and they find themselves to the river.
So all of it builds up, builds up. That's why you can see the river, you can see to the bottom here.
Come take a look at this.
You go a couple miles up north, you can't see through the river anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, this is beautiful. Yeah, if you would, just pan around, kind of show everybody where we're talking at. We're right at the Shiawasee River as it crosses through M59. We're just west, or no, yeah,
well, we're on the
of,
path of the airport, so I'm right on the approachway.
All right on.
So the airport's right there. Yeah.
Just east of Tomato Brothers and west of all of the elementary and middle schools.
Yeah.
Off of M59, between M59 and Grand River. So,
yeah.
But how fortunate, what a beautiful walking path, like you said already.
No, the county has done a beautiful job with the walking path.
Yep.
You know, all the way from Tomato Brothers, you know, past Byron Road, and on this side of the M59. I would like to see a path along Grand River as well.
Yes.
If we're pitching for stuff.
Yeah.
You know, you see people walk on the side of the road or in the grass.
Yep.
And it can get a little dangerous.
It's dangerous,
you know?
for sure. Yep.
So
And
there's
with the
it'd
growth
be nice.
And the growth in taxes, it's just a matter of appropriating funds to get that done, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, all right, this is the river, and I see that you're passionate about that.
Yeah. Okay.
And there's several people running on the ballot. You know, of course, in Howell Township, as you're voting for a trustee, you can vote either the right side or the left side. You can vote Republican or Democrat, which is why we're talking right now. And I try to get out and talk to all the candidates I can, so people get to learn who you are, your background, your passions. One of your passions, obviously, is the river. What other types of... Now, you've been attending township meetings.
Yeah.
How long?
Yeah. Really just this year.
Okay.
You know, I would sometimes, you know, read the notes from past meetings.
Yep.
But because I was working, I really didn't have the time or didn't want to take the time.
Right.
You know, I think as, you know, it comes, it's like 7 o'clock, should I go? No.
I'm so tired, right.
So I understand why people don't do it.
Plus, we've also talked, you know that I'm taking care of aging parents.
Yeah.
My dad has some cancer that we're
sorry to
working
hear
on.
that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And my mom's right there with him, and everything coming together at home and all the stuff in my life. It just makes it very difficult to focus on that stuff,
Yeah,
but you focused on it. And you have the kind of the same thing, right? You have parents that you're helping?
My mom and stepdad. My mom had a heart attack in April.
Yeah.
My stepdad had a stroke in May. So it's been in and out of hospitals and rehab facilities, and right now they're in assisted living.
So you can say that you're retired, but you're far from retired, managing both ends of the spectrum.
I tell my siblings, well, okay, great for me being retired. That means I get to do all the work.
You got it.
But my oldest sister is retired also, so she gets to do even more of the work.
Oh, good.
Her other in-laws are also in the rehab. So
Okay.
yeah.
So, super busy, but bouncing back to some of your passions, and I can tell that this is after your heart. What are some of the other things that you've seen that you would, if you're elected as the trustee for Howell Township, working with the other trustees, and I know there's a whole fire going on there, but working with whoever are the other trustees, what would you make as priorities to work on?
You know, I look at the township board really as a large neighborhood association. I don't want to diminish it, but it's kind of like a large. We don't make you know, values type laws or anything. Yes, we do ordinances, really, and they're about to protect your neighbors or to protect the environment.
Sure.
Right. So it's really a nonpartisan, almost not bipartisan. It's nonpartisan
Doesn't
issues.
matter. Yes,
right?
Exactly.
And I can work with anybody.
Right.
And you know, I've been in the automotive. I would say, you know, 80% of automotive engineers are Republicans. So, I can work with them. You know, I've been doing it for all my life. So, but I don't look at this seat as being partisan at all.
I don't think so either. You take local issues at a local level and say, how do we work together to get this done? And it doesn't matter.
So what I would do is just like this here. You know, if I see a report like this, or I hear about it, somebody brings it to my attention, I'm not going to ignore it. It says, you know, yes, it does say who's the oversight party for these things that need to get done. Mm-hmm. It does say the EPA and the state. That means Eagle, right?
Yes.
Okay, if EPA and state aren't getting it done, who's going to hold their feet to the fire?
Right. Yep.
It should be the township or the county, but the township is more local. So this Superfund site is in my district, so I will hold EPA and state. And so actually I have a phone call to make because a couple of these items I summarized on this sheet I'll give to you. A couple of these items, the due date is September 2024.
Okay. We're right there.
We're right there. So 2 of these things we need to call Eagle and say, where are these at?
Yep.
We're not going to ignore it for another 5 years.
Right.
So that's kind of where I'm at.
Yep.
One of the trustees, Bob Wilson, had brought up this Shiawasee River Committee.
Yep. Yeah, I know Bob's very passionate about this.
Yeah,
as well.
as soon as he lives near the river, on the river, and as soon as I heard there was a committee, I'm like, sign me up. You
Yeah.
know, so that's how I got to know Bob Wilson, and so there's that committee really we haven't met yet.
Right, right.
But because we were waiting for this report.
Yep.
So, we're going to be tracking down the Eagle and EPA and saying, okay, what's the situation here? Why does this keep getting kicked down the road? That's
Yep.
what it seems. The cans keeps getting kicked down the road.
Right.
And I don't want to harm any businesses. I don't want to harm any property values.
Yep.
But I think property values might be hindered already
They should be
if
anybody's doing the research.
if they know that there's a polluted sites.
Absolutely.
People aren't going to want to move here if there's polluted sites. So let's clean up the polluted sites.
Yep. I consider myself to be an expert in real estate and in real estate values, and certainly this would not be something that would be on the radar. If you came in to talk to me to buy your house on Crestwood, I would say, talk to the sheriff's department about the crime in the neighborhood. I would send you to the Livingston County building department to check for past building permits and improvements that have been made. I'd send you to the health department to see about radon or pest or those types of things. But very rarely, I think you would find any realtor in Livingston County talking about, hey, go check at the Eagle site.
Yeah.
And see if there's an environmental concern
Or
there.
EPA, right?
Yeah,
So,
unless we knew it. We know there's an old dump out off of Mara Road. We know there's PFABs that run through the city of Howell because it was highlighted by the Livingston County Press. We know that there's some contamination sites over here, but you get going living every day and you kind of miss those things.
yeah.
I think, just talking to you, you seem like a very normal person who can get along with a lot of people. And I am certainly, even though I don't vote in Howell Township, I would support your candidacy. Easy for me to say.
Well, thank you. Spread the word.
Yeah, we sure will. Just simply based on your background, your evenness, your level-headedness. There's other things that come into Howell Township as we get into expansion of public services, or even the ambulance system or the airport or police services. And I think that having someone with a background in education and engineering is very important to review these things. It's kind of a team effort. If you've got Bob who's just gruff and in your face, and then you've got Curtis who's kind of standing back going, well, wait a minute, I've analyzed
Somebody's got to be
it.
the ballast.
Yes. And then all that information gets to, Mike Coddington, and we're like, hey, this is kind of how we see it. I think
Yeah.
it's a good mix. So
Yeah.
I would like to support you.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, my pleasure.
No, I appreciate that.
Is there anything else you wanted to put out to the people through social media that I may have missed here this morning?
Yeah, well, certainly I, as an engineer, and I said, work the plan.
Yep.
We do have a master plan,
Yes.
so I support the master plan,
Okay.
even without knowing it in detail.
Yes.
Okay, because it's already there.
Yep.
We cannot change the past.
Right.
But let's work with the residents in mind with that master plan.
Absolutely. And
If
the
people
master
are-
plan can be updated.
Yes, it can be updated, yeah, and
Okay.
ordinances can change.
Yes.
But when they're requested to be changed,
Yes.
like that Mug and Bop's gas station wanted to go inside of a wellhead protection zone,
Yep.
I say no.
Right.
Let's protect our water, another place to protect the water.
Is there a means to have the water protected and still have the growth?
Yes, there's plenty of places outside
a
of
wellhead
those protection
area?
zones.
Okay.
Just because a developer or a businessman wants to put it at a specific intersection,
Yep.
well, what are the ordinances there? What are the
Yeah.
rules there?
Yeah.
You just can't change the rules because this is the convenient place for you to put your store.
And I agree with that to some extent, but there's also protections that you can levy upon that developer to ensure that there's no issues within that wellhead protection area.
And that's where we can look at all the evidence.
That's what I want.
At all the evidence.
Somebody who I say, here, go represent me, is look at it all. Don't take one side or the other, but look at all the information. Say, here's what's good for
Yeah.
the people.
The other thing is, as much as possible, and Bob does it very well, is let the people know what's coming up, so
Yes.
that You know, just putting a little notice in the Livingston Daily, you know,
Third page back.
printed paper.
Tiny.
Not even digital, just
Right.
a printed paper. We put it out there. We put the notice out there.
Right, right.
So they're legally covered.
Yep.
However, nobody reads it. Nobody
Yeah.
knows it's there.
Yep.
So, I'm committed to, reaching out to people, and, I'll have my phone number, email address for people to.
What is your phone number?
313-701-5560.
Okay, there you got it, guys. If
There
you
we go.
want to give Curtis a call or a text, he's very responsive. Reach out.
That 313
Yep.
came about before the 248 area code was here. That's how old I am. And that's how long I've had that phone number.
That's
So,
awesome.
yeah.
You're probably still with Nextel.
No, but I do have AOL.
Email, right?
Yeah.
So that brought up another point is within, there's social media has done such a thing between 20 years ago and now. And I heard at the last meeting that Bob had posted that Howell Township was working on getting some cameras and microphones.
Yeah.
So that even if you couldn't physically be present because it's 7 o'clock and you would take care of your parents all night, you could click on and watch the meeting.
That makes so much sense.
It does,
I mean,
doesn't it? Yeah.
For them to push back on that, I don't understand it.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's easy transparency. That's not even, to say they're saving a little bit of money. Yeah, that's nonsense.
Sometimes it's hard, and so I don't fault them for pushing back. That's why we have a vibrant discussion, and then as a group make a decision. That's how my dad went out of real estate, is he wasn't going to turn on a computer. Well, if you can't do that, then you're out.
Yeah.
And it goes the same way with social media now and all the platforms. I mean, you can reach so many people so widely. It's amazing.
Yeah. So maybe one of the last things I would say is, again, working with that master plan.
Yep.
So we have this beautiful airport here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we still have a mall. It still has stores in it.
Yep.
I would hate to see that go to a ghost town.
Absolutely.
So I would like to see the township, whatever way possible, to support the businesses that we have.
Yep.
I know we have that new restaurant coming.
Wrangler
The
Saloon.
Wrangler Saloon.
So that's friends of mine
wonderful.
who are redoing that whole thing.
That's going to be beautiful. I saw the plan.
It's going to be amazing, guys. And then that strip from the Wrangler back to the expressway with the mall that you're talking about, that could be, with a little planning and being put together, that could be an amazing spot for some awesome businesses.
Real, and yes, and I would like to see maybe some ways to highlight that area. How about we get a shuttle bus from downtown Howell up to there, and from Fowlerville up to there.
Right.
Have a little tourist bus going back and forth. For the air shows.
Yep. The railroad in town.
Let's connect. Howell Township can't survive by itself.
No.
We know we are right next to Howell City, which is beautiful, and down the road Brighton. Fowlerville doesn't always get as much attention as it could deserve.
Sure. Yep.
And we are a community that we're a greater community as well. So let's tie it all together.
Yeah, and I think so. I'll just do a little plug for the supervisor of Howell Township. Although not everybody agrees with everything that he's done financially, where he's taken Howell Township from 2008 till today, you have to give him credit for it. He's done a wonderful job.
I have nothing bad to say about
yep. And I didn't ask. I'm just,
Yeah.
I would say that Mike's done a really nice job on balancing
Yeah.
the township and keeping the finances correct where it could have been very bad.
No.
So
So I have nothing bad to say about anybody on the board.
Yep.
I can work with everybody.
Perfect.
And so that's whatever's happened in the past, we're not going to change any of that.
Yep.
Let's just see what's on our
Move
plate
forward.
now and work on it.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Okay, thank
really
you very
appreciate
much.
your time today.
Thank you.
Guys, reach out to me or him. You've got our numbers. We're happy to, not him, Curtis. We're happy to answer anything we can for you, and let's move Howell Township forward. We love you. Have a great day.
Thank you, everybody.